Hello guys, welcome to Filing Doc, where you get help step by step on how to file a different kind of form. We have a bunch of immigration form tutorial that show you how to file them. We also have some video on social media setting, Facebook, stuff like that. We're trying to help you. So let's say you're trying to have you're trying to help your family member get a green card, either your wife, husband, your child, your parent, or your brother and sister. Okay, so you want them to have a permanent resident card to come in USA. So that's what we're gonna do. That's the first step. Seriously. So as you can see on my back, we are in the website, USCIS. So uh, normally we did a video on 2014 that show you how to file this form, but right now we're on 2017. There has been some update. Generally, after 3 or 4 years, there is some few change. That's why we think that it was important to have an update. That's mean on how to file I-130 for 2017, 18, or 2019, 2022 maybe. Okay, we will see if it will last. Okay, but you can still, I will advise you to come here on the website. You got the form here. So let me write down. So it's USCIS, www.uscis.gov I-130. Okay. You got the form I-130, that the form. You can just click here. Once you click, it's going to be below the screen like that. Let me click. I'm going to open it. Open. So I got the form. As you can see, they told you this form will expire in 2018. Most of the time, it's not going to be expired. Let's understand. Generally, they told you that because they expect some change, but it's going to last. I can guarantee you this is not going to be expired in 2018, okay? Unless there is really major change, okay? So the best thing is, as long as you come here, you download it here, you will find, okay? And guess what? You got the instruction too. You can download the instructions. So I'm going to show you how to do it, but you got the instructions. Let's open the instruction. So which means you got that show you the instruction for the form, as well as, but they're talking about the form I-130A. By the way, guys, remember, if you're filing for your spouse right now, this is a change. You need to file the form I-130A. No more G225, okay? So let me show you what I'm talking about. So this form I-130A, it's only when you're filing for your spouse, okay? Only if you're filing for your spouse, you need to fill this form and fill this form as well, okay? So now, remember, there might be some few exception, what document to submit, and then can you apply for this relative? If your relative is married, can you apply for him? So what about your stepchild? There's a bunch of detail, but that's not the goal here, okay? Here we're just gonna show you how to fill out the form I-130 step by step, okay? So we will produce other video, some detailed example, where to mail it, how much is the fee, or to address the money, or the stuff like that, okay? But today we're just gonna talk about, we're gonna step by step with you, step by step, how to fill out the form I-130. Like I told you, we're on 2017, but most of the time it's gonna take like almost 3 years for a new update. Even though if it's expired, generally you can still use it, okay? You can still, I say generally. So as long as you download it from this website, okay, let me show you again. As long as you download it on www.uscis.gov I-130, don't care. If you're in 2018, okay, and it tell you it's supposed to be expired in July, you don't need to be worried about it because you went to USCIS website and you download it. So now, guys, let's start. Why not? Okay, get ready. You're just gonna follow me step by step. You can pause. We're gonna step by step fill out it. Okay. Okay, ready? Let's get started. So normally you file the form from left to right. Okay, we are in part one. Part one. I am filing. That's mean the one that is filing is either a permanent resident or a U.S. citizen. So I am filing. In this case, I'm just doing it for this person is a U.S. citizen. He's filing for a child. Okay. So you cannot. You can't just. You have to choose one. Okay. So you get. So you. Okay. Just you filing for. Okay. Okay. You can file for your spouse. Okay. There is some detail. Example, if you are a permanent resident, we'll ask about detail. You filing for your spouse, you can just add the kid for one form. But by the way, this is not possible for US citizen. US citizen, you need to file a separate for child, separate for your spouse. But permanent resident can file spouse and child in one form. But again, to do that for permanent resident, your child need to be under 21. If your child is over 21, it should be separate. That's some detail. So that's not the goal. The goal is to show you how to file a form. Okay, I will produce all the detail, if stepchild stuff like that. But let's go straight to it. So this is a real case. This person is a US citizen. He's filing for a child. Okay, so if you're filing for your spouse, you just click it. Just okay. So let me show. This person is filing for your child. Okay. Now, a if if you are filing this petition for your child or parent, select the box that describe your relationship. Okay, so this is mainly for this is not for spouse, but for this is not for border, but they want to know there is different type of child. It may be adopted child, it may be stepchild. You understand? So you know what it is, a stepchild. Stepchild, to be a stepchild, the marriage with the parent should occur before the kid got 18 years old. Okay, so U.S. citizen can file for the stepchild. Okay, so even though so you can file for your stepchild, so it's not only U.S. citizen. You can always file for your stepchild as long as the marriage with the parent occur before the child. That's some detail, by the way. Okay, but in this case, most of the time, his child was born to parent who were married to each other at the time of the childbirth. Okay, most of the time it's gonna be this one. Okay, but sometimes also maybe if you are not child was born to parent who were not married. If you're not married, you just put it. Okay, okay. But by the way, in the past we didn't have this. They just need more. They need more precisions. We know there's some parent they get kid with women they don't get married. So this is gonna be this kind of child where you were not married with the parent. But in this case, this person was married to the parent, so I'm just gonna child was born to parent who were married. Okay, that's the one. Okay, we know there's child adopted. If you adopted someone, so you will click this. Okay, just one of it, just one of it. Okay, now if the beneficiary is your border, are you related by adoption? So they want to know. You can file for U.S. citizen only. You can file for brother and sister. So you can file for your even for adopted border. Okay, so no, most of the time it's gonna be no. Did you gain lawful permanent resident or citizen through adoptions? You need to they need to know. So that was no for this person. Okay. Okay. Now we are done in part one. Let's go to part two. Part two is information about you. That means you, the petitioner, or the U.S. You the petitioner, which is a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. I'm gonna put your information here. Your alien number. Most of the time, U.S. citizen, you don't got alien number, but you're gonna have a social security, last name, first name. Let's enter. We're gonna enter it here. So I tap the person last name, first name, social security number. Since the person is a U.S. citizen, so for a permanent resident, you will put the alien number. Most of the time, you don't have USCIS account. So that's part two, page one. Now let's go to part two, page two. We're gonna page two. Page two. We are still on information about the petitioner. I'm talking about the U.S. citizen or the permanent resident that want to file for relatives, a family member. So that's gonna be, we still in your information. So let's go. Page 2. Other name use. So if you use other name in the past, you would put it. If not, just put, you know, not applicable or none. Okay. If you never use any other name, okay, just, you can let it blank too. That's not a big deal. Just let it blank. Okay. So if your name has been changed, okay, just you will put, you know, your previous name. Even though if it was a maiden name, when they say maiden name, that's mean, let's say, in some country, women when they get married, you know, they change their last name. So you will put, you know, your first name here and the last name that you had before getting married. Okay, that would be your, you know, previous name. Okay, no, that's straightforward. City, village of birth. I have nothing to explain. You know, then your town of birth, country of birth, your birthday, your sex. That's straightforward. That is okay. Now, mailing address. So you can put your name here, the petitioner in care of. We know sometimes people use, let's say, a mailing address of a friend. You will put the name of a friend. You know, if you use, you know, you might have different physical address. Okay, so your mailing address, you will put your mailing. I have nothing to explain. That's your address. Okay, now. Okay, guys, we are still in providing address information. So this is your mailing address. Okay. So the question is, your current mailing address the same as your physical address? It's yes, but most of the time it's gonna be yes. But sometimes, I say sometimes, we have some people who have an address to receive mail and another address where they are living, what we call residential address or physical address. Some people are like that. The person may have a PO box, example, and the person have like a physical address. In this case, your mailing address is different than your physical address, okay? And then if it's the case, you're gonna, so is your current mailing address the same as your home address? That the same? I put yes. If it's no, you will put no. But most of the time it's gonna be yes. Now, what they are asking here, it's they're talking about physical address for the last 5 years. Okay, so basically they want your physical address. So if in this case the physical address is the same, I just put the same address here, and then since 2008, that's your current address. So that's why I can't change it unless I write today. Okay, the only thing I could write here is like today. Okay, because this is the current address, so they don't let you write anything here because this is the current address. Okay, so this is the current address. That's why you can't write anything. You can write, there's nothing that you can write here. So basically this person has been here in this physical address since 2008. We are in 2017, so it's more than 5 years. So I don't need to write anything else because they want address for the last 5 years. Okay, that's the way to do it. Okay, but they are talking here about some detail where people have uh, an email address. Let's say if you have an email address and you have a different physical address, so this is gonna be different. But in this case, the same thing I have here, I put the same here, and I don't need to write down here because this person has been in this address, you know, since 2008. So I'm just gonna erase it. But let's say if this person has been here, example, since 2015, so which means that's gonna give me 2 years. So I will need to provide a physical address, you know, for like 2 more years, okay? If it was 2015, okay? So that's the way to provide it when they're talking about your physical address from the last 5 years, okay? Okay. And then they want to know how many times you've been married. So if it's one, you put one. If you're married, or they want your marital status, either single, married, with the whatever, just put your marital status. Okay. So that's all for page 2. Now let's go to page 3. But we are still, those information, and remember, this is still about information about the petitioner. I'm talking about the US citizen or the permanent resident. Okay? Okay, let's move to page 3. Page 3. Okay, guys, one more appreciations for this part. So I can change this because this is your current address, which means you're still there. Unless you put today, that's why you cannot put anything here. But by the way, you can put here because this is your current address. So that's why you can put anything here. So your current address, it should be from a date to today. Okay, so this place is for your current address. So like I told you, if you've been living here for 5 years, just fill out this part. Okay, and then that's it. So if you have a previous address for the last 5 years, you will just put the other address, which mean the date that you're gonna have here will match this date because it's this date that you move. Okay. One more thing, guys, regarding your address for the last 5 years. So remember, we cannot change this because this should be your current address. That's why you cannot change this. So otherwise, you need to write today, from this date to today, because this is your current address that you're gonna put here. So if you've been in this current address for 5 years, in this case, as you can see, I just let this blank, okay, and then I just report the current address only since 2028. But if you have previous address, okay, let's say if this person has been here since, example, 2014. So I would have to put, so the date, that's the current, okay? So that should be the date I will put here, 08/12/2014 for the second address, okay? So that should be the date for, and now we have a start date here, okay? So that's the way it's work. Okay, this is about, how many times you've been married. If it's 1, you just put 1. If you are not married, single, whatever, just click it. Okay, so basically that's the way it is, guys. So now let's go to page 3. Okay, guys, here we are in page 3, but still part 2, information about you. That's mean the petitioner, or that's mean the permanent resident or the US citizen, the petitioner. So page 3, still part 2, date of current marriage. If you married, you're gonna put the date of your current marriage, place of your current marriage. That should be easy for you. Country, if it's overseas, maybe you don't have any state. If it's overseas, so some country have province, that's straightforward. Now name all your spouse. Okay, name all your spouse. So what they are asking, the name, provide information about your parents. If you're married, you're gonna put a family name as well as the first name of your current spouse, the date the marriage end, okay, and then if you previously married, so if you've married twice, you're just gonna put the last name and the marriage end. So that's what you're gonna do, okay? So basically, so information about your spouse. This is straightforward information, right? So now information about your parent, last name, first name of your father. Sometimes for some people, let's say if you're old, maybe you don't even remember birthday of your father or mother. So that's not a big deal. They know that, but at least you should know, the family name and the first name of your parent, at least, because so often when you call immigration, they might ask you, example, what's the first name of your mother, or the first name of your father, but at least you should remember last name and first name of your parent. Birthday, they understand sometimes you don't remember, so you can just let it blank. So if your father, you put male, mother, you put female. So it's parent 1, parent 2. That's gonna be, so they need country of birth, okay, of your parent, city, country of residence, parent 2. By the way, sometimes people don't remember all the information like I tell you, that's fine. But at least put the last name and the first name. Okay, now additional information. Still, they're still talking about you, petitioner. So they want additional information. So in this case, this person is a US citizen. I'm gonna put the US citizen here. If it were a lawful permanent resident, I will choose this one. But this person is a US citizen. So now if you are a US citizen, complete item 37. 37 is if you're a US citizen, because there is 3 ways you can be a US citizen, either by birth in United States, or by naturalization, or by parent. Okay, so in his case, that was by naturalization. So you can take a black pen and make a check mark here. Or have you obtained a certificate of naturalization or certificate of citizenship? Okay, so this person get a certificate of citizenship. I put yes. Okay, certificate number. Check your citizenship certificate. You will find the certificate number. Okay, check it, because normally the certificate number should be at the top of your citizenship. Okay, it should be at the top. You will find your certificate number. Place of issuance, where normally you should find it the embassy, the U.S. consulate where you went. Let's say the office, in the central office where you went to pass the interview for your citizenship. That's gonna be the place of issuance, date of issuance. But by the way, if it's by birth, you don't need to enter. If you have if you are a citizenship by birth in another state, so you don't have any certificate number, any place of issuance, any date of issuance. So this information you will find them on your citizenship certificate. Okay, that's all for page 3. Now let's go to page 4. We are in page 4. This is still information about the petitioner. Okay, so if you are a lawful permanent resident, check your green card. There is somewhere you will find your class of admissions. Okay, let me show you what they mean when they're talking about class of admission. Okay, this is an example of a green card. So your class of admission will be on the category. Okay, check category, you will find your class of admissions. Generally it's 2 letters with 1 number. Okay, example, this is CR6. We might have different type of class of admissions. So that's what they are talking about. And as you can see, there is a expiration date, and since that's going to be the issuance date. Okay, so this is a green card, and then the class of admission is these 3 symbols on the category. And then as you can see, we got card expiration date and residency. That's going to be the issuance date. Okay, let me show you. That's another example. The category, that's the class of admission they are talking about when they are talking about the class of admissions. Date of admissions, they're gonna be the issuance date, the date since the date since you have been admitted in the United States. Place of admissions, so let's say if you coming from overseas, let's mean you get in USA for the first time at, let's say, Orlando International Airport, or Tom, or whatever the airport. Okay, you will put it as well as the state. Okay, so I know sometimes also people get admitted while they are in United States, and then so you will put the town, the town where you've been admitted. Okay, so that's that's for people that are a permanent resident. Now, employment history. So basically, that's straightforward. They want to know your employment history. So you might have So they want it for the last 5 years. The same thing for the address. You will start with your current employment, the name of the company. If it's Walmart, I don't know, you will put it. You might also be unemployed. If you are unemployed, you just put, you might be retired. If you are retired, you put retired, and then that's it. Okay, if you have another company, there is a place here to put it. Okay, this person is retired, I just put retired, and then that's it. And then biometric information, not Hispanic, black. Okay, you will put the the height. Here's 5 feet for the pound and the eye color. Number 4, it's really easy way. Now let's go to page 5. Well, let's move to page. As you can see, we are still in part 2. Information about the petitioner. But now we're gonna move to page 5. Okay, guys, we are in page 5. So page 5 is like we have to finish part 3. By the way, part 3 is really short. It's only biometric information. It's really short. Biometric information on part 3. So okay, so that's easy, okay? Now, finally, we are in part 4 where we're going to provide information about the beneficiary. So we are talking about the applicant, that's mean the family member of the US citizen or the permanent resident. Generally, they don't have alien numbers. So I say generally because sometimes your family member might be in USA on another status, example TPS status or whatever other status. This person will have a social number, an alien number, but most of the time, your family member is overseas on another country, so that's why most of the time we let these blank. Oh, okay, family member last name, nothing to explain. Family member first name. So if this family member had a previous name, that means if the family member changed name, you will provide the previous last name and given name here. But if this family member never changed name, you just put not applicable or known, you can let it blank. Okay. Other information, we are still providing information about the beneficiary, not the petitioner. Okay. City, town. So it's gonna be a town overseas. Most of the time I say, because we have some case where the person is already in USA. In this case, you're gonna put USA, but most of the time it's gonna be another country overseas. Date of birth, birthday, sex. Has anyone else ever filed for the beneficiary? Most of the time it's gonna be no. So they are looking for if this person has in the past an applicant submit for him or for her. Okay. They say if you don't know, you can put unknown. Okay. But most of the time it's gonna be no. But if this person ever filed an application in the past, you will say yes. Okay. Now, still page 5. Now, beneficiary physical address. Easy, it's you're gonna provide the address of your beneficiary. Most of the time, it's gonna be overseas on another country. Okay, I say most of the time. Other address contact information. Okay, they provide the address in the United States where the beneficiary intend to live. So it's gonna be in your most of the time it's gonna be in your address. I'm talking about the address of the US citizen or the permanent resident. So they want to know once this person get in USA which address this person gonna live. So most of the time it's gonna be your address because this person will come living with you. I say most of the time, there might be some exceptions. So provide the address in the United States where the beneficiary intend to live. Okay. If different from item 11.1, if the address is the same type, same. So by the way, what they're talking about here, sometimes the beneficiary is here within USA. You got a USA address here. So you don't need to tap it twice. You're just gonna tap same. I say this case is when the beneficiary is in USA on a visa status, temporary status. You want to file a green card for this person. So this person is already in this address. You will put same here. But I say most of the time it's gonna be your address here, and it's gonna be his address overseas. Okay, so nothing to explain when it comes to address. So they're talking about the phone number of the beneficiary. I think that's it. I think that's clear for you. If you have questions, you can ask. I will answer. Okay, now let's go to page 6. Okay, on page 5, we have this information that we want to explain. So they say provide the beneficiary address outside of United States if different from item 11.1. So what they're talking about, let's say we have someone that is living overseas. Okay, so we got this address up there. So we're just gonna tap here same. We don't need to put. So we will put it differently. If this person, we know some case where you're applying for a family member and the family member is already in USA. So in this case, you will provide the information that the address of the person had when this person uh, were living overseas. That's the way. But in this case, it's gonna be same because this person got the same address overseas, so we put same. Okay. Okay. Now let's go to page 6. Okay, we're on page 6, but still part 4. We are providing information about the beneficiary, the applicant. So telephone number, you understand, email, if any, you put it. Now, beneficiary marital information. How many times has the beneficiary has been married? In this case, this person has never been married. I put 0. Current marital status, it's single. So we don't have anything here because this is not applicable because this person has not been married. Okay. If this person has been married, we will provide it. Okay. So place of beneficiary current marriage, not applicable because this person has not been married. Okay, now name of beneficiary spouse, it's gonna be also not applicable because this person has not been married. Okay, so by the way, let me remember you for lawful permanent resident. If you're filing for your child, if your child has been married, there is no visa category. They're just gonna reject it. I'm talking about lawful permanent resident. If your child is married and you're applying for her and you check married, the officer is just gonna reject the case for lawful permanent resident. If your child is married, the petitioner need to be a US citizen. Just just a reminder, okay? Spouse. Now, information about the pet, they're still talking about information about the beneficiary. That's really interesting here. So here you're gonna list, if this person had previous spouse, you will list them as well as child. So what's gonna happen in this case? This person is filing for his child. Now we're gonna list his grandchild. I'm talking about the child of the beneficiary. What's gonna happen? Uh, the child of this beneficiary would be able to immigrate with her. Okay, so they call this derivative. If you're filing, that's mean, let's say you whatever, if you are lawful or US citizen, you're filing for your child. But in the meantime, if your child got a child, I'm talking about your grandchild, you can just add it. So this grandchild will have an immigrant visa too. That's really interesting. But what you need to remember, this grandchild to be eligible should be under 21. So if you over 21, you cannot be a derivative. Okay, so you cannot have your grandchild if it's over 21. So in this case, we're just gonna put the name of the child, relationship is gonna be son or daughter, date of birth, stuff like that. So that's really interesting. As long as your grandchild you're filing for your child, as long it's the same also if you're filing for your border. If you're filing for your border, so I'm talking about US citizen, which means your niece, that means the child of your brother or the sister, you just can add the niece as long as niece or nephew, as long as they are under 21. So that's really interesting. Okay. So here we just gonna provide example. I'm gonna put last name, first name, relationship. If it's the son, I'm gonna put the son, or if it's a daughter, I'm gonna put the daughter, birthday, country. That's it. So you have up to, oh, let me see, person 3, person 4. You can add, if you have 4 child, you can add them. So that's really interesting. Okay. Okay, now let's go to page 7. Okay, guys, we are in page 7. We still have space to add, you know, other person of the beneficiary. What I'm talking about, let's say if your beneficiary have like 5 kids, you have like up to 5 space. If your beneficiary has six kids, you will need an additional sheet. Okay, so when they are talking about a person, they want to know what kind of relationship, because since you can include your child, but you can include here, like I told you, your husband or wife. I'm talking husband or wife of the beneficiary. But understand, understand that when we're talking about the the spouse, the petitioner need to be a U.S. citizen. If the petitioner is a lawful permanent resident, uh, the beneficiary can have spouse. Remember, lawful permanent resident. If your kid is married, I'm sorry, you cannot apply for your child. Okay, it's only U.S. citizen that can apply for a child if the child is already married. Okay, so I'm gonna let this blank because this person don't have, only have like 2 child. So all this space I left them blank. Or you can put simply not applicable on them, like this, not applicable, not applicable. Okay, now beneficiary information. What they're talking about, what the beneficiary have in United States. Most of the time it's gonna be no. But if it's yes, you better tell, because they're gonna find out. They, let's say if you've been in USA, they got your fingerprint, stuff like that. You're trying to lie. What's gonna happen? Okay, everything gonna went fine, but guess what? After the interview, you will have a background, and on the background they will find your fingerprint. You cannot, no. So it's better to tell the truth. I got a case like that, and I specifically asked the person, "Have you been in USA?" He keep lying. Oh no, I've not been. So you can, if you've been here, they got your fingerprint. So everything went fine. The application has been approved. He went to the interview. They tell you, okay, you're fine. But guess what? There is the last process. That's why they're gonna catch you. They're gonna scan, and then they're gonna find out. So you better tell the truth. If you've been deported, you've been here. So normally you have to wait for like 10 years, 10 years before applying. You cannot just decide to come back. That's the rule. Okay. So it depends. Sometimes it can be up to 3 years. Let's say if you didn't stay too long in USA, that's the way it is. Okay. Now, so still the beneficiary, it's no. I'm just gonna let this blank because they're talking about if you've been in USA, you will provide, your class of admissions, your I-94, date of arrival, stuff like that, passport number. So normally your passport number, you could put it, but sometimes you don't have the passport number right now, so you can put known. I understand some people don't have the passport, but you need your passport number, by the way, at some point when the case is approved, and then you're gonna file the DS-260, you will need your passport. But that's fine if you don't have it right now. It's not gonna be a big deal. But if you have it, it's better. Okay. Now, what they talking, travel document. So some people don't have passport, they have travel document. If it's the case, you will put it. Country of issuance of travel document, you will put it. Expiration of your passport or travel document. Okay. So this is basically information about passport or travel document of the beneficiary. Now, beneficiary, we're still in beneficiary, okay? Beneficiary, your employment, even though if it's most of the time it's gonna be overseas, but you will provide the name of the company you're working right now. So, so if you're not employed, you can just put unemployed. I'm talking about the beneficiary. If you are not working, that's okay. That's it. Okay. If you're not working, you just put it like that. A additional information about the beneficiary. Has the beneficiary ever been in immigration proceeding? They want to know if you've been deported in removal. So again, it's better to tell the truth, okay? Because they will find out, and then they will not process it. So if it's no, it's better for you. Just I understand people that in deportation, when you're doing this stuff, it's better to see a lawyer because there is some exception. There is you may apply for. There is different type of waiver. Okay, so if you've been in deportation, there is different type of waiver that you can apply to get pardon. Because the point is that if someone is helping you, don't try to hide some information because at some point they will find the information and then you will be in trouble. So if you've been in deportation, there is a way to fight for some waiver. So it's always better to tell the truth. Because when it comes to immigration, it's a simple lie. Simple lie can get you deported. Remember that. Okay, now we are done with page 7. Let's go to page, we're done with page 7. Let's go to page 8. Here we are in page 8. So page 8, still this is information about the beneficiary, okay? So beneficiary, we're talking about the person. Most of the time this person is overseas in another country. So what they're asking here, it's basically people that are from China, Greece, they don't have like what we call woman letter. So if it's the case, you will provide the original. So if the beneficiary native reading language does not use woman letter, but most country use woman letter. Okay, we will let this blank. Most of the time, there's gonna be not applicable. But if you're from China, Greece, this kind of country that don't use woman letter, take your black pen, write it, use the letter from your country. Okay. Now let's go. Let's listen what they say here. If if filing for spouse, so this section is only for people that are filing for spouse. So if you're filing for your child, don't leave this blank because if you're filing for your spouse, provide the last address at which you physically live together. If you never live together, tap point never live together. So they want to know the last address. The question is clear, it's explicit. They want to know the last address that you live with your spouse. We know sometimes some people just leave overseas and then they just went for a trip, they find out someone that they get married. So it may happen that you never live together. But in some case, let's say if you pass a few weeks with the person in his country, you can use this address. If you get married overseas for a week, you pass with this person, you will put the address that you stay with this person. So this generally is gonna be an address overseas. But we know, like I told you sometime, that we have a case where you find someone in USA that don't have paper, that have another status like visa or whatever. So you will provide the address that you are living. Maybe I guess you are living in the same house in this person right now. You will put the address, okay? Okay. There is, excuse me. They have it. The beneficiary is needed. It will apply for adjustment of status. So this is the case what I was talking about it. If the beneficiary is within USA and is up, it's that's mean in this case you will not go overseas in his home country. This person will adjust his status right here in USA. So it can be at Miami immigration office or Tampa immigration office, whatever, Colorado immigration office. You put it, you put where the adjustment will happen, okay? And then you will put here as well as the city. The country definitely gonna be in USA, but in this case I'm just gonna let this blank because The beneficiary is overseas. The beneficiary is not in USA, and most of the time, the beneficiary is overseas on another country. If I'm not applying for spouse too, I'm just applying for a child, so I just put this not applicable. Okay. Now, other information. Finally, we are in part 5. They say part 5 is other information. What they're talking about? Have you ever previously filed a petition? Most of the time, it's gonna be no. Most of the time. So if in the past you file a petition for this person, you're gonna click yes, and then they will ask what's going on. You will need to provide family name, given name, and then see state, date, filed, result. Most of the time, I guess it's gonna be denied. It may happen sometime you file for someone and the case has been denied. You want to apply one more time. Okay. So, but if it's no, you just don't put anything here because they say if you answer yes. So I answer no, I'm not gonna put anything here. So they say if you're also submitting separate petition for other relatives, provide the name of your relationship to each relatives. If you're also submitting separate petition for, so what they are talking here, let's say if a US citizen is applying for spouse, generally if you have kid, you're gonna file a separate petition, a separate I-130 for the kids. So you will provide the name of the kids here. Okay, you will provide the name of the kid of your kids here. So because when it comes to US citizen, you cannot combine one I-130 to put to have your spouse and kid. Although you still required to provide kid from your spouse, you will fill it out, but you will still need another form I-130 for your kid. That's the way it is for US citizen. But for permanent resident, just one form. But if there is a if permanent resident, your child need to be under 21. If not, it's gonna be the same. You need to say a separate petition. So basically we are almost done. We are in page 9. Page 9, it's easy. They're taking a petitioner statement. This is just statement where you state if you're with me because you can read. You don't must if you're watching this video, you don't need interpreter. I'm just guessing if you can. You don't need interpreter. So you don't need any preparer if you're here, which means you can leave this blank because you're just gonna put petitioner phone number, petitioner telephone number, email. Okay, you will put your email. But when it's come to petitioner declarations, it's really important the guy to sign here and to put the date. It's really important to sign. When it comes to immigration, if you don't sign, that's a big deal. They will just turn it back. So that's a big deal. You need to sign. And then what else? This is for interpreter. If you use interpreter, if you're watching this video because you understand English, I guess you're not gonna use any interpreter, which means you just can put not applicable here. Okay, you don't use. It's the same thing for preparer. You didn't use any preparer that was you or not applicable. You didn't use any preparer. So which make it easy. You did it by yourself. Okay, that's it. See, you don't need to provide anything. This space is for additional information. Let's say if you have like 6 kids, okay, you may need additional information. So if in case you have additional information, you will use this space. Otherwise, just let it blank. So which means we are really done with this application. We save time because we didn't fill out anything for preparer because you, the petitioner, didn't use any preparer. Okay. If you want, they say contact information and signature of the person preparing this petition if ordered, if ordered than the petitioner. So if it's you, you don't need to put anything. Okay. So interpreter, you didn't use any interpreter, left it blank, that saves time. Okay, which made it really easy. And then we put date here and sign, and then we are done finally, guys. So we are done. That's what good. I hope you understand. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, just write it down and then I will try to answer. And then remember to subscribe to my channel and take care of yourself. And I will do another other video that give some more detail, what it is, where to mail it. By the way, you got all those on the information. They told you got a bunch. You can read this to see. You got this is the instructions. You got a bunch of information that can be helpful. On the instructions. Okay, this, but you can get through this also. Try to read it. Okay. So I hope you good luck. So what's gonna happen once you file your form is depend of who you are if you're a lawful permanent resident, if you're a citizen. It depends also what kind of relationship. If it's your spouse, your child, if the child is under 21, over 21, that means there is a different variable that will count when it comes to know how fast, your case gonna be processed. So how long it's gonna take, it depends of your status, it depends of example. US citizen, most of the time, if it's your spouse, it's gonna be quick. If it's for your child, but understand, for your child under 21, not married. You see all the conditions? So if your child is under 21, not married, it's gonna be fast, really fast. Okay. But if your child is over 21, it's gonna take a couple of time. Okay. I will do another video to explain the after filing the I-130, what's next down the road. And take care, guys. See you. Bye.